I would have married Rose. I'm just kidding. No, absolutely not. I've known for a few months that it really wasn't going to work, and I wasn't, really happy. And the taco pasta night where Liz kind of, lost it like she's done before, my sister had never seen that, my sister Liz, and she just gave me that look like, don't do it. So, and what kept reiterating in my head was something my mom had said to me. Is like, go ahead and marry her, but you'll be miserable for the rest of your life. So we timeline, we got back from the last resort, and it was kind of a whirlwind of getting everything packed and moved, to Arkansas, halfway across the state. So by the time we got settled, it was, we were there, we probably had maybe a couple happy months, and then a lot of the same problems started to rear its ugly head. And it was actually Liz's idea to want to move back to Arkansas. Ironically, I didn't want to move, but it turned out to be, one of the best decisions I've ever made. I definitely have regrets in how I handled, calling off the wedding. I didn't realize, I thought I had told Liz, but I think I did, but she didn't really hear me, or she didn't believe me. And it wasn't until our officiant, reached out to her and said, look, I'm really sorry, and that's when it hit her like a ton of bricks that it was over. And I'd spoken to him a couple weeks later when I was in San Diego, and he's like, yeah, when she got the message, she was uncontrollable. So, that part really hurt. I wasn't happy, with how she found out, but, there's going to be no good way to tell her or to try to get out of it. So I just had to, cut it off. The morning after the pasta gate, I was at breakfast with my sister, who was there that evening, and her son, who was also there. And I was having a conversation with them, and that's when I, said, Liz, my sister Liz, I'm not going to go through with the wedding. So I began texting the venue, telling them I need a refund. And at that same time, Liz was calling, and I thought she was calling to apologize. And she didn't, and that's when I knew. I thought, she's like, oh, we have date night tonight. I'm like, well, don't you want to talk about last night? And that's kind of what we did, both of us together. Like, we never dealt with our problems. We would sweep them under the rug and go to happy hour or have date night or go to dinner. So we never, after the last resort, we never learned how to deal with those issues. And that eventually led to me deciding that I didn't want to go through with it. I would have married Rose. I'm just kidding. No, absolutely not. You know what? I don't know. And here's why. When I chose to marry Liz, I really had to turn my back on everybody, including my mom and my daughter. Anyone, even my best friend, anyone that didn't support me, I didn't want to be around them. So I know in my heart, including moving back to my hometown, where Liz and I could be alone and together and kind of deal with our stuff, nothing was going to ever change. And in the end, I didn't want to be, I wasn't happy. And I didn't want to put her through a divorce, and I didn't want to go through a divorce. And it made me realize kind of the value of, having somebody that really loves you and wants to make it work but can't. And so for me, it really took me back, and it made me sad. But I knew in my heart the worst thing I could have done to her, would have been to keep lying to myself. Liz was actually very mature for her age. She is probably one of the smartest people I'll ever meet. I don't know what her intellectual score was, and I got away with nothing, so that tells you something. But I learned a lot from Liz, and what people didn't get to see is our happy times, which most of the time they were. It's just when you know you're not happy, and you can't continue to lie to yourself, you owe it to the other person to be honest and say, I can't go through with this. But I'll always care for her. I'll always love her. and her daughter Riley. We lightly text, Happy Mother's Day, Merry Christmas. I hope you're doing well. Be safe. Yeah, no, I see it working out as friends eventually. I told her I still want to, because her daughter lives out of the country. I told her I would, when she's back in San Diego, let me know. I'd really like to spend time with you guys again, as a friend. And I don't want to lose that, relationship if possible. Gosh, I'm getting that question a lot. I'm not sure. I have a really good friend that at this point we're just really good friends. I like her a lot. She doesn't want to have anything to do with the show, although she said we can tie our pontoon boats together, if you know what a pontoon boat is. So anyway, she knows who she is, but she's just a great friend. I'm working on, building really good friendships with my new community, and God willing, He'll give me another chance. But I probably won't invite somebody else to be on the show with me. I'm looking for somebody that that respects me, that I can respect, somebody that's secure. Being a public figure, it's really difficult, and for a lot of relationships. So I'm looking for somebody that doesn't want to be in the spotlight, that doesn't want to be on TV, and that, really loves they have to love who they are and be happy. Like I can't make them happy and they can't make me happy. We have to do that for ourselves. Now, would I date a fan? I don't recommend it. It's just, here's why. They like Big Ed, the character that I created. And once, they get to know the real Ed, we're inseparable. I'm kidding. No. Once they meet the real Ed, it's not the same. So dating fans in general aren't a good idea. Oh, yeah. So I get wedding proposals almost every other day. They're over 85 years old, and I don't even know where their nursing home is. So I don't respond to those. The last crazy DM I just got, they're actually neighbors, and they invited me to go on a couple's trip to Florida, all expenses paid. I'm like, well, I'm single. Like, don't worry, we're all going to have a lot of fun. So I'm like, well, why don't we just grab a drink locally and see what happens? So I get a lot of those requests. People wanted me to, they want to take me out to dinner or to lunch. And like what I don't like about that is that they don't want to have lunch with me. They want to have lunch with Big Ed. So, and that comes with the territory. Even the word date it just has a negative connotation, because when you date someone, you're basically pretending to be somebody else. So what I'm focusing on are developing friendships. And I have a handful of people that I've met through the industry that, we go to lunch together. We go to Top Golf. We go to happy hours together. And so I'm patiently waiting for the right person to come along. I would love to meet, a conservative Catholic woman would be my dream, because that's will always be a conflict. And unfortunately, Liz never wanted to go to church and never wanted to, didn't like the Catholic Church and whatever. And that was, for me, it kept me away from what has gotten me through my life all these years. So I can't go to Dixon Street anymore, it's the college bar scene in Fayetteville, Arkansas. I went there one time thankfully, I had 3 of my nephews and 2 of their friends, which they're all over 6 feet tall. And they had to surround me as I walked down Dixon Street, or I would have been mauled. So, and that was kind of scary. There was another time in Florida where I walk into it's kind of an open bar, and quite a few people there, and everybody all at once stood up and started walking toward me, and a security guard grabbed me and pulled me aside and got me somewhere safe. So I've had nothing with any fans specifically, that I've ever had to worry about, but just when I'm out in public, and sometimes I'm reluctant to take a picture because I know what's going to happen. When somebody sees that, that's like, okay, now it's open season and everybody comes over. But knowing that it makes their day, I don't really mind. I want to get rid of the dad bod by the summer. So I'm down 19 pounds right now. My goal is another 18, which I know is kind of steep, but you know, it requires a lot of discipline and change because being in shape is really it's a lifestyle change, and that's kind of what I've gone through the last 2 months is changing the way I eat. Changing up my routine and working out every day. You have to be disciplined no matter how you feel. Drag yourself to the gym, and getting there is really hard sometimes. But when I leave the gym, I'm like so glad I did.